Sandy Scheer, and I'm so glad that you joined us today.
Yeah, I'm super excited about being with you.
This is Lisa Bevere. If you do not know who she is,
We've
very
been
good
friends for how long?
We've been friends for at least 40 years because we both were in Dallas together.
Yes.
We were both pregnant with our firstborn.
Yes. You were a pioneer. You were first.
Yeah, okay.
I remember going to your baby shower.
Yes, that's right.
And you already had your baby.
Yes.
When I had my baby shower.
Yes.
We both had boys.
We both had boys,
So
which was
excited.
awesome.
Yes.
And then we...
And then you went on to have girls, and I didn't know how to have
Yes.
girls, and I just kept having boys.
Yes. And then we moved. So then...
we
I guess
moved.
then y'all moved. Y'all moved.
Yes.
And then we're just kind of like gotten back together like over the years.
Yeah.
You know, we've been friends for, like we said, over 40 years. And what I love about Lisa is she's just real. Like every time I get with you, it's like we have not lost any time.
No, we always pick up, and I always feel, Sandy, what I love about you is we don't have surface conversations.
Right.
And yet we can go deep, and yet I also know you're evolved.
Yes.
Like I've never had to call you back and say, hey, you know that thing I said, please don't tell
don't
anybody.
talk about it.
Like you're always like, Lisa. I mean, it's always
Yes.
clear. And I have loved the consistency of you and Pastor Bill. It has been
So sweet.
consistent. You know, John told me Bill called him last night, and
Oh, did he?
he did. He
Oh,
said
great.
Bill called, and he was like, she was signing books when I left. So I think he was home alone. He's like, I'm bored. But you
Yes.
hosted a magnificent event for the women last night, Sandy.
It was so much fun.
It was.
I just loved it.
Yeah.
And
there were so many young girls.
yes, there were so many women that just, I was just thinking about it this morning. I'm like, how did this all happen? I mean, we've had big events and we've had but it was not an event. It was a moment.
Yeah.
And I think you set the tone in the Sunday morning services. And I just want to do a plug for the Sunday morning services. This last Sunday, she spoke at both services, and just, wow. I mean, I told her after the service, I said, you have gone to another level. I mean, you've always been awesome. I mean, the best.
We're in another level. Of
I mean,
life right now.
another level.
So-
And we talk about like 64 and 65 years old and how you kind of don't have time now. Didn't we talk about like you don't have time to like the bull, you know, you just need to get to the meat of it and say it like it is and kind of don't care what anybody thinks, but kind of.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like there was 2 epidemics released during the pandemic.
Yep.
There was, of course, COVID.
Right.
And then there was a release of cowardice.
Okay.
And I watched people lose their voice.
Yes.
I watched fear of man become a snare, and people that would normally walk forward with confidence and boldness now began to shrink.
Yes.
People were so afraid of being canceled that they canceled themselves.
Right.
And I just remember during that time period feeling that pressure myself.
Yes.
And I felt that in 2020, there were things that if I'd said, okay, I'll say this, and then nope, somebody who didn't like that.
Right.
Oh, okay, then I'll say that. And I finally came to a place where I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I am not
You're gonna tell it.
doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And the thing I love about being a Christian, being a follower of Jesus Christ, is his mercy is new every single morning. So you can go to
Yes.
bed a coward and you can wake up courageous.
Right.
And what I felt in the room last night
Yep.
was a gathering of
Absolutely.
courageous women that were like, you know what? We're not messing anymore.
Right.
The enemy has come after our marriages. He has come after our family. He has come after our children.
Yes.
He's come after our city. He's come after our school systems. He's come after our judicial system.
Right.
He's come after our nations. And he's just pushed way too hard.
Yes.
And we are rising up as mothers, as daughters, as sisters, and we're not going to take it anymore.
Yeah.
And not in a mean way. And then it was like everybody remembered, oh, the man isn't the problem.
Right. Yeah.
We have an
We have to
enemy.
take, yes,
Yes.
absolutely. And we have to take our authority.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit? I loved, you know, we always know that we have to take our authority that Jesus has given us. But you made it so clear, just so many things that you said Sunday morning, which I'm getting back to. You need to go on YouTube, Guts Church Sunday morning, to see what all she had to say. I just can't say enough about it. But can you talk about the authority a little bit?
Yeah.
Like people taking back their authority. And one of the things that you said that I thought was amazing is that God's given us the authority to trample on serpents, to absolutely be in charge of our life, but we have to take that authority. And you have a choice. You can either take that authority or you can let the enemy take that authority.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's your choice.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's one of those things. I feel like the Christians have become spectators.
Yeah.
They go to church and they watch the pastor do the work of the ministry.
Yes.
Instead of understanding
There you
that
go.
they are priests and they are
Yes.
ambassadors in their home.
Yeah.
That it isn't the pastor's responsibility how your children are raised.
Right.
You know, and one of the things I kept forgetting to say, and I meant to say last night, is that I believe that the highest form of government is family. And so when the families are healthy, when the marriage is healthy, then it just spreads out through
Yes.
everything. And so if we don't take our authority in the Spirit, the enemy will take it from us and use it against us.
Right.
Because he's been stripped. So what he has is what we yield.
That's
And
right.
so many Christians have compromised their authority in the Spirit. I'm not saying they've compromised their salvation.
Right.
I'm saying they've compromised their authority in the Spirit by the things they've chosen to be entertained by,
Yes.
by the things they've chosen to partner with.
That was so good
Yeah, I
last
mean,
night.
and I remember, and I was joking around, but I was serious. During COVID, John and I all of a sudden started watching TV.
Yeah.
Like we never watched TV
Yes.
when we had children at home.
Oh, you didn't
we
have time.
ate and we played games. I mean, somebody had to lose
Yeah.
to go to bed. We
Yeah.
aren't happy unless somebody goes to bed a loser and somebody goes to bed a winner with a household of boys.
Right.
And so we never watched TV. Now all of a sudden, John and I are watching TV.
Yes.
And we're being entertained and we're being dulled down.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they're slipping in stuff that
Yes.
I'm like, wait, I didn't sign up for this.
Right.
What just happened here?
Right.
And God was like, Lisa, it's going to dull your edge, and you will never have authority over the things you choose to be entertained by.
That is huge.
And so I
That's
was like,
huge.
whoa,
Yes.
whoa, because I can't partner with
The world.
watching sexual things on TV and then have authority, the same authority in the
pulpit.
Spirit.
Yes.
But the great thing is I can repent and I can recover.
Yes. That is amazing. I think, I was just to give you a personal example, I heard, there's a few friends that like love these shows and they're like, you've got to watch this. You've got to watch this.
I'm
And
shocked by some of the shows. people
Oh my
watch.
gosh. So we start watching. Bill and I are watching.
I'm serious.
Because we do watch shows together.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
we start watching. And it got to like through the first, we didn't even get through the first episode.
No, they're
and
pretty blatant
I'm
now.
telling you, it was, I can't even talk about it on this,
Yeah.
what was happening. And I'm like, and we're both like, oh my gosh, how did this happen? Because it was not that kind of a show. It was like something that a lot of people would watch, and
Listen, I had people tell me to watch Game of Thrones
Oh.
because I had written Girls with Swords. They were like, oh my
you're
gosh,
gonna love Game
you
of
would love
Thrones."
Game of Thrones. So I was flying from South Africa home. I thought, okay, what?
Yeah.
I'll watch Game of Thrones.
yeah.
I lasted about 1 minute.
Yes.
I was like, this is dragon porn.
Yes.
What the heck?
I
Who
know.
thought I would like this? This
Right.
is awful.
Right.
And I even thought, well, maybe I can fast forward. No.
Yeah.
That was just like boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Again, we're not trying to shame anybody, but
Right.
this is not the time
Yeah.
for you to be
To back down.
compromised. This is the time for intentionality
Yes.
and high alert. So,
Yes.
and again, when you allow those things to come into your home, I don't know if people understand, they have spirits attached to them.
Absolutely.
I had an opportunity to meet with a Catholic exorcist. So I was speaking at an event. He was right before me. I'm like, that was interesting. I get to follow a Catholic exorcist. And so afterwards, I asked him these questions. I said, all right, tell me. Because he said, oppression and depression in the United States is at an all-time high.
Yes.
And I said, what do you think it is? And he said, it's the introduction. Are people going to get mad at me for saying this?
No.
Yoga.
Say it.
He said
Oh,
yoga.
yeah.
He said, if you don't know better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm running it for everybody.
No, I know
but
it.
he said, it is not just an exercise.
Yeah.
It is poses that draw demonic spirits. He said, so the infiltration of yoga has been a problem. He also said what people are watching on TV. And I said, well, what if you're flipping through the channels and you see something you didn't want to see it and you just go past it? He goes, no, that's not partnering with something.
Yeah.
He said, it's when you go back.
Yeah.
And when you watch it. He said, because when you invite it in,
Yes.
he said, it comes in. And then
Absolutely.
the songs. And then think about the YouTube. So literally when I was writing my book, The Fight for Female, I said the enemy is constantly attempting home invasions.
Yes.
And as parents, as individuals, we need to be vigilant. But we also have to get a little excited, like,
Right.
wait a minute, he's attacking. That's because I'm a threat.
Yes. Absolutely.
And we need to take back, like, why is he trying to dull me, distract me? Why is he trying to shame me? Because when
take you
people
off.
watch pornography, you know, they might, in that moment, feel good, empowered, whatever, sexual, but later it comes with an attack of shame and
Yes.
guilt. And then again, he tempts, he shames.
Yes.
He tempts, he shames. It's a
Yes.
cycle.
I agree. I wanted to ask you a question about friendship. Can I
Absolutely.
steer a different little bit
Absolutely.
thing? So there's been a lot of people that are like, ask her, because we were thinking about doing this podcast earlier, like last night on stage, and then
We
we
were
kind
too
of changed.
tired.
It was too much going on. So anyway, we decided to do it today. And I want to say last night's meeting was just life-changing. And I think the girls loved it. I think when they walked
an
in there,
honor.
they may not have known what they were getting into, but let me tell you something. This is what I love. You come with a punch. I mean, it's like, but it's a good punch. It's like, no, you know, it's just, you're just ready for it. And I just love that.
Thanks,
Personally,
Sandy.
that is my love language. That
That's why
someone
it's
just
called
tell me
Guts
the
Church.
truth. Yes, tell me the truth. At Guts Church, there you go.
Guts Church.
But what did you think about last night? Just to talk about that just a little bit. I mean,
first of
because we
all-
are talking to some of the women that watched it last
Absolutely.
night.
First of all, I just saw a gathering of beautiful, alert, intelligent women
Yes.
who wanted to figure out how to have hard conversations
Right.
in a confused culture.
Yes.
With compassion and empathy without compromise.
Right.
You know, I had this moment where I spoke at a cultural summit, and I'm going to say this because I think that this is the group of the women.
Yes.
I spoke at a cultural summit, and one of the speakers before me was this guy named Matthias, and he's from Belgium. He is a statistician, like a psychoanalyst. He's all these crazy things. He's
Right.
like this resume. And I was listening to him, and he's an expert on totalitarianism.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, please leave while I'm talking. Like, we had to talk for 15 minutes. I'm like, just
Yeah.
leave, just leave.
Yeah.
And so he happened to actually hear part of my talk, and he came up to me afterwards. He said, I saw that you have a family. Can I go to lunch with you guys? I'm like, are you going to psychoanalyze us? Because we don't like that during lunch. He's like, no. He said, I'm just intrigued by family. So we start talking to him and develop kind of a loose friendship. And I interviewed him for a podcast. And I asked him, he said, listen, he said, America is on the threshold of a disaster, of totalitarianism. And I said, okay, well, how do we stop it?
Yeah.
How do we stop that?
Right.
And he said, well, it's not by protests. It's not by guns. It's never by violence. He said those justify totalitarianism. They're like, oh, we gotta suppress it.
Right.
He said it's always consistent, constant, courageous conversations.
Wow.
And all of those women were in that room
Yes.
wanting to be equipped on
Yes.
how to have consistent, courageous, constant conversations. Because when I was signing books, Sandy, young girls were saying, this is going to help me.
Yeah.
I have friends that have questions. I haven't
Yes.
known how to answer. And so the church is really good about saying,
Yeah.
oh, that's wrong. But we don't always go to the next step,
Yes.
which is to connect them with the one who makes everything right.
Yes.
We have culture saying something's wrong, but Jesus always goes to the core of
Right.
the issue, and he brings healing. And so
I love it.
I want compassionate
Yes.
without compromise.
Yes.
And I felt like all of these women were there, and they weren't angry women,
No.
but they were on mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved
and
it.
they were wide range, but lots of young girls. I mean, I feel like I
Yes.
had some 12-year-olds
Oh, yes.
right there
it
in
was
the
12,
front rows.
It was 12 and above.
Okay.
So some of the moms wanted to bring their daughters into the situation so that they could hear you, and some of them have read your books, and so
Well, our sweet friend Brenda said she got there at 5:30 and she still had to be near the back.
Oh, I
Because it was
know.
so crowded.
It
But
was-
she said she had like 4 girls that were in their 20s
Yes.
sitting near her. And she said that they'd obviously brought a friend.
Yes.
And they would turn to the friend and explain, and then the friend would not. And she said, when we prayed, she said, I'm watching whether that friend, she said, this friend was probably new to all of this.
Right.
And she said, the friend stood up. And so
love it.
people are not afraid of truth.
No.
They are afraid of harshness.
Yes, I agree with that.
So-
And it was not harsh last night. I thought
I felt like it was clear.
It was so clear.
Yeah, one of my
And-
daughter-in-law said, clarity is kindness.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
my little Australian daughter-in-law.
Oh, I love
I don't know if
that.
it's an Australian thing, but
There you go. I love that.
yeah, I loved it.
So just like in talking with the girls, like talking with some of the moms last night, and they were like, is there any way that, maybe y'all could talk about like, how do we navigate this season when it's busy? They have 4 little kids and they still want to have friendships, I mean, they still put God, family, everything else, and it's like they want to prioritize it, but they can't do everything.
Sure.
Do you want to speak to that? Like as a grandmother now,
Yeah.
we're grandmothers of
9.
9 and I'm grandmothers of 11, but we're still going.
Yep.
We're still believing for more.
We're doing a contest.
That's
We're doing a
right.
contest.
That's right.
Yeah.
And-
You're winning, but
Yes.
I don't know if you'll win.
And I think that girls are just really, they're wanting to know about friendships. They're wanting to know about their husband.
Yeah.
Like how to be great with their spouse.
Yeah.
They want to know how to navigate maybe a job and
Yeah,
which you
because not all moms can stay home.
Yes.
I mean, I know that there's a lot that would love to do that, but some are single moms.
Right.
Some are not in a financial position where they can stay
Right.
home. Well, let's do the friendship thing first.
Okay, do that.
Let's do that. I think it was Margaret Mead, was an anthropologist, and she said, sisters in a family, sisters are the most competitive relationship there is.
Really?
But when they grow up, they become the most cooperative.
Wow.
And I think that we're seeing women grow up.
Yes.
And instead of competing with one another, because
Yeah.
women tend to compete to eliminate, men tend to compete to drive each other higher.
Right.
And so, like, my boys, when they compete, it's like, yeah, but next time I'm getting you.
Yeah.
When girls compete, they're like, you're out.
Yeah.
And I know that some of that is just the way
Yep.
we've been led, but it
Yes.
is not kingdom. It
Right.
is not kingdom.
I agree.
So I feel like more and more, as you get older, what you valued. I think when you're in high school, you want to fit in.
Yeah.
You measure your value by who includes you. But
How popular you are.
But when you are grown
Yes.
up, you're going to actually want to have friendships
Yeah.
that are iron sharpening iron.
Yes.
The people that will tell you the truth that you
No
don't
matter
want to
what.
hear. Ask you the questions you don't want to answer.
Right.
Those are the friendships that you need to value. And I like to put friendships in 3 categories.
Right.
First of all, we have our transactional relationships.
Okay.
These are the people that they're for us when everybody's for us.
Yeah.
And they're for us when we can do something for them.
Right.
It's a transaction. And then there are
Yep.
those that are complete strangers. People on social media are not your friends.
Right.
They're not coming to
Oh,
your
gosh,
funerals.
no.
So those are strangers. So
Yes.
we've got transactional and we've got strangers.
Yeah.
And then we have the highest form of relationship, which I would like to think we're in that category.
Yes.
That is the transformational ones.
Yes.
Like I can actually pinpoint conversations I had with you when we were in our 20s.
Yes.
I remember them because they were transformational. And transformational relationships are people that are in your corner. And
Yeah.
that is talking about a boxing ring.
Yes.
It is somebody who's seen you at your worst,
Yes.
but still believes you're best.
Right.
And they're like, I know, I am committed to bringing the best out in you. And hopefully
Right.
your marriage is that.
Yes. I love that.
My husband is my number one catalyst for growth.
Yes.
And John always has this image of me here. And so if I behave here,
Yeah.
he's like, that's so beneath
Right.
you. And it always is like,
Yeah. Bill talks to me like that
I'm
too.
like, don't say that. Let me just have a moment. He's like, you can do that with your girlfriends.
yeah.
I'm not, you don't
Yes.
do that. You've made commitments to
He
me.
makes you better.
Yes, he calls me higher.
Yes. I love that.
And so transformational relationships will call you higher. Transactionals will call you out.
I love that.
Like if you are in trouble, they're gonna
Yeah.
distance. They're gonna call you out. Oh, I always knew Sandy had a problem with that.
Yes.
And, I was worried. But so you
Yes.
have. I get hurt in my female relationships when I confuse my transformational and my transactional.
Okay.
When I entrust things
Right.
that I shouldn't entrust to transactional people, I end up
Yes.
getting hurt.
Yes.
And transformational relationships, they're not everybody.
Yeah.
Like you can if you have 3, you're wealthy.
Right.
If you have 4, you're a billionaire.
Exactly.
I mean,
I agree.
It's definitely a relationship that has length of days and
Yes.
time. And my husband is that. Like I said, a few friends are that way, but females tend to overshare,
Yeah.
and then they make themselves vulnerable.
Yep.
And then if you've overshared with the wrong people,
Person.
like some people are oversharing on Instagram.
Social media.
Yes, I'm like, do not
Yes.
talk about your husband.
Usually when someone
social media.
overshares like that, I always think they're desperate for friends
Yeah.
on social media. Like if
Or
you're if you're
attention.
telling all that,
Just attention.
then especially private things, I'm
Yeah.
like, who are you doing this for? You know what I mean? And what is
Yeah.
that need in you that needs that?
Well,
you
there's
know?
a difference between being vulnerable and being naked.
Yes.
And when you're naked, people are like uncomfortable.
Right.
When you're vulnerable, people are like, I can see that. I can
Yes.
understand that. And so I think we're called to be vulnerable, not naked.
Right.
And I think social media has become such a voyeuristic world that people have to like take off another layer, take off another thing, and it's gotten to the place where it's out of control. So my
Right.
husband is my first and foremost
Yes.
friendship, and then my children, like you said.
Yes.
But there are certain friendships that are important. But I found when my kids were young, I couldn't maintain certain ones.
Right.
Like it
Right.
had to be commonality of season, commonality of purpose.
Yes. Athletics. I mean, just everything.
Yes,
Go to the
just-
same church kind of thing. And
Yes, absolutely.
spiritually.
Yes, and sometimes there's seasonal relationships.
Yes.
And they kind of go away.
Yes.
And it doesn't make you wrong. It doesn't make the person wrong. And
Right.
sometimes they re-catch up, but you can't hold them all.
Right.
And if you try to hold on to, like, let's say a spring relationship and now it's winter, it's going to die off anyway.
Right.
So it's just better to know who you can invest with, how you invest. And,
Right.
and then, as a young mom, people are like, I need to take care of my self-care. I'm like, in my opinion, praise and worship music, Bible
Right.
reading was self-care.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what kind of
I
self-care.
don't know what you're talking about. Yes.
they're looking
The
for.
massages, facials.
I mean, that would be really nice.
Yes.
That would be really
Yes.
nice. But I find the more I focus on myself, the more miserable I am.
Exactly. Exactly. When you focus on others, it's better.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love that. Do you have any longtime friendships that, like, how would you develop, like, let's say, how would you develop a longtime friendship? Like, that was one of the questions that they were asking, like, what are some practical ways that,
Well, I mean, the Bible says if you
Show
want to have
yourself
friends,
friendly?
you show yourself friendly. So I guess what we need to define, because I think friendly has become cheap.
Yes.
That doesn't mean you just wave at people.
Right.
I think it actually means you take a genuine interest in other people's lives.
So what I would ask is, like, so with your husband,
Yeah.
with your kids that are now all married,
Yep.
and all have children, grandchildren,
Yep.
that's a full life right there. Then you have full-time ministry that you're doing, and then you have friends.
Right.
Tell me how that looks, how you categorize those friends in this season.
So we have friends that are couples.
Okay.
That like it's a bonus friend.
Yes.
My husband likes them. I like them.
Yes.
We're doing it all together. I mean, it's easy.
I love it.
But then I also have friends that they're just like we have similarity. Maybe we're not maybe both in the ministry, but we love God.
Right.
And so, like, one of my dear friends who I love in Franklin, who I love to spend time with, is Tracy Hamilton, Scott Hamilton's wife. And
Yes.
she's just a prayer warrior, and she's amazing. Same thing with her. Anytime, I see her, it's amazing. No loss. She's not looking.
Yes.
Like, we're both depositing. We're not both
I love
withdrawing.
that. That's big.
Yeah, we're both depositing.
deposit?
We're both depositing.
Yes, and not withdrawing.
And not withdrawing.
Yes.
And then I go to a Bible study that I attend. I don't teach it. I attend it. And I'm the oldest person in the room.
Yeah.
And that's been beautiful because I'm connected with younger women that some are pregnant, having babies.
Yes.
Other ones have kids getting married. And I'm a season ahead. And I actually think
Yes.
it's really healthy to have friendship at different group. And then I am good friends with my daughter-in-laws.
Yes.
Now, again, that doesn't mean I hang out with
Right.
them, but I have been intentional to build a friendship
with them.
with my daughter-in-laws.
I love
and
that.
so we're actually starting something in a little bit where we're going to just gather, and I'm going to gather with my daughter-in-laws, and we'll just open it up to some of the women because there's so many female ministers
Yes.
in the Franklin area, so many couples, so many musicians, where we're just going to gather and see if we can ground ourselves in the Word.
I love it.
Because there's a lot
Yes.
of soft,
Yes.
and we need some solid.
Some solid people.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and I mean, you have friends for different purposes. Like you have some friends, like you talked about sports.
Yeah.
These are the friends that you
You go to the
coordinate your
games
kids
with,
with.
and yes.
Carpool with or whatever.
Right.
But I don't know. For me, I think sometimes you have to be really careful that you don't neglect your inside by being busy on the outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, we could talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on today. And I wanted to thank all the women that that came to the meeting. Thank you so much. We had a wonderful time, and we hope you have a great day.
Yeah, it was an
Thank you.
incredible honor.
Thank you.